Okay, Great Voice will be famous one day. Nick Dutch back on the camera yet again. Still reading through the Wikipedia article, which is about natural science methodology, and I'm applying it to the occult, magic, and the rest of that with reference to social and psychological science methodologies, just so that we can try and eventually build a model of the world, a model of investigating into the apparently supernatural. Okay, and we just finished a section on basically factor analysis and working out how important the factor is. All right, now we got the final couple of paragraphs, testing and improvement. The scientific process is iterative. At any stage, it is possible that some considerations will lead the scientist to repeat an earlier part of the process, which essentially means that we have to sometimes go around in a circle to try and work out what's happened, basically testing and retesting, and that's essential with everything, especially when we're dealing with something which is of a supernatural nature, which has only been previously defined by, let's say, spiritualists, for instance. Failure to develop an interesting hypothesis may lead scientists to redefine the subject they are considering. Failure of a hypothesis to produce interesting and testable predictions may lead to reconsideration of the hypothesis or of the definition of the subject. So essentially, no experiment is a failure. An experiment is a way in which you test ideas, a way in which you test views on the way the world works, and trying to come steadily to a better understanding of what is most likely to be real on the basis of the evidence gained from the experiment, as well as your current basis of knowledge and your own background, be it academic or whatever. Failure of the experiments to produce interesting results may lead the scientist to reconsidering the experimental method, the hypothesis, or the defining of the subject. So if you're going to experiment with anything, you've got to design your experiments in a way which is going to be useful. And also, it's worthwhile criticizing your own experimental design. And that's the same with natural science, that's the same with the physical laws of nature, anything to do with gases and fire, for instance, anything to do with heat and temperature, and anything to do with the social and psychological sciences as well. And there's no reason why we should wipe that way of thinking out. If you've done let's say, an occult ritual to experience the presence of an angel and it didn't quite work out right, maybe there was something wrong with the way that you were doing it, like you weren't taking it seriously enough, you hadn't done enough meditation beforehand, you hadn't made sure that the tools you use in the ritual were cohesively a part of the model of the world or the theological model of the world that you're using. Maybe you weren't in the right state of mind. And all of these things are aspects of your own experimental design, your own experimental method when you're experimenting upon yourself. Now, if you're experimenting with other people, it gets even more complex, but essentially you still need to think carefully about your experimental method if anything is going to happen there. Then you're actually going to get some interesting results from which you can then infer that there is some possibility that something that you're investigating has some truth in it. Remember, the scientific method is about trying to find the truth. It's not about saying, I'm stating that this is true. I'm not stating that this viewpoint of the world is true. And we've got to take that point of view within the supernatural as well. If we don't do that, then we're not being good scientists, we're not being good artistically, we're not being intelligent, and we're just losing ourselves in the models of the world defined by religious schools of thought. So it's not good from the point of view of someone who's trying to find out the way the world really works and trying to find some way of controlling these allegedly supernatural phenomena of nature, which is what I've been trying to do all along. Okay. Other scientists may start their own research and enter the process at any stage. They might adopt a characterization and formulate their own hypothesis, or they might adopt the hypothesis and deduce their own predictions. Often the experiment is not done by the person who made the prediction, and the characterization is based upon experiments done by someone else. fine. There's often plenty of stuff written in the New Age world which you can experiment with on your own. But remember, if something goes wrong, it doesn't quite work out according to plan, then maybe there's something wrong with your experimental design, and you need to make sure that every single factor is in place to try and get the alleged results. If you can demonstrate and prove that you've put every single factor into place, and I mean every single factor, as far as possible, then you don't get the result which someone else suggests you will get, then there is something wrong with what they were saying. All right, something wrong with their viewpoints. Okay, then finally it says, published results of experiments can also serve as hypotheses predicting their own reproducibility, because reproducing an experiment is important. For instance, if I do an astral projection experiment tonight and I don't quite get the results that I'm after, then I'm going to have to test and retest to work out what was going wrong. But I've also got to think that trying something many, many times over and expecting to get different results could in fact be a form of insanity if I haven't changed some of the factors in the equation, so to speak. Alright. So this short series will hopefully demonstrate that you can actually be scientific when thinking about and trying to analyze supernatural phenomena, when thinking about how you react to supernatural ideas. And yes, you can use a lot of aspects from natural science in your own experimentation and investigation. I hope that's been useful, because being properly scientific is vital if you're going to consider yourself to be a practitioner of a science not of change in accordance with the will, or in change in conformity with the will, whatever that, however you choose to use that phrase. But the scientific method is essential. Look after yourself. Don't go mad. Keep rational, and keep investigating nature. God bless.